What happens when you gather hundreds of Christian entrepreneurs into one room to come together?
When you experience it, it is nothing like you've experienced before.
You can't get from a podcast what you get from proximity.
It's not just a conference, it's our heart's cry.
Often in church, you're not surrounded by entrepreneurs. And so you find you don't really have people to connect with.
I really struggled with people understanding my ambition.
Marketplace can be my ministry. Probably the hardest thing we ever did.
But the testimonies, the presence of God, I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Welcome back to another episode of the Christian Entrepreneur Podcast. And I'm joined today by my beautiful wife, Esther, the co-host of the podcast. I thought it would be really cool on today's episode to talk about something we haven't talked about with anyone this year yet. And really give you guys an inside look into something that Esther and I have been working really hard on for all of you guys, and that is our upcoming Revival in the Marketplace conference.
Yes.
But what we want to do in this episode is I would like to tell a little bit more of the story of the Christian Entrepreneur Club, the story of the vision God gave us for the last year's conference, the first time we did this. You know, how God moved through that, some different stories that we could tell of just lives that we saw impacted, and then the vision that we have, you know, for this year and what people can expect and even how they can come out to the conference this year. I'm sure I missed some things though, guys. Esther has all the notes. She's the organized one, but I'm excited, babe.
Yeah, for people who maybe aren't familiar with our conference, 2 years ago, we did a one-day mini conference, if you can call it that, in a little penthouse in San Diego, had maybe like 50 or 60 people there. And then last year, that's when we really went big, got a space at a hotel in San Diego. We had 250 Christian business owners there, and we called it Revival in the Marketplace. We weren't even planning on making that a recurring theme, but we're like, oh my gosh, we have to run it back. That's just like the new...
Got the trademark for it.
Got the
everything.
trademark so we don't get sued by somebody else or I don't know, all those legal things. But really, it's not just a conference. It's, I think calling it a movement also too feels too small. It's a heart's cry.
Yeah.
It's our heart's cry. And so I know there's some stories that you want to share. And then, of course,
but I also want to give people
details.
A little bit of a look even pre-conference.
Yeah.
Like the inception of what kind of led to this podcast becoming the Christian Entrepreneur, why we started the Christian Entrepreneur Club, why we believe this conference is so important in really bringing God into the marketplace. And so, you know, guys, 2.5 years ago, Esther and I are entrepreneurs. We're newly married, and you know, we have a great future ahead of us. You know, we're building our businesses. We're making good money. We're using the gifts that God gave us. We're very involved in ministry. But one of the things that I know I've been carrying the weight of, and I believe probably a lot of you can resonate with listening to this, is still feeling isolated and alone, you know, as a Christian entrepreneur. It's like you have your church you're involved with and you develop a great Christian community, and hopefully you're doing that. We encourage everyone, get plugged in to a local church. But often in church, you're not surrounded by entrepreneurs. And so you find you don't really have people to connect with, you know, and I don't know if you felt this way too, babe, in like your journey, but I know for me, I've been an entrepreneur since I was 17, and in the church community and in ministry, I kind of felt like who I was so much a business owner, but I couldn't talk about the things that I was mostly passionate about with people I was at church with because they didn't understand it. And so what it left is like this gap in me of like, man, God, I want to surround myself with people that are building a life like on your word. And I want to be around Christians because they share my values and I learn and I grow. But business is so much my life that I just feel a disconnect from this group of people sometimes. And then we go to the other side of that, right? And it's like, you have business groups, you have coaching programs, you have masterminds, you have BNI groups, chambers of commerce, you know, all these things which are really good. And I encourage all those things. But I found in those rooms, oh man, like a lot of these people aren't Christians. And if they are, you would never know because no one talks about their faith. No one talks about Jesus. They encourage you like, hey, leave religion out of business. But I felt like, man, I feel like all I want to do is talk about Jesus and learn how to build a successful business. And so I want to pause there and here, because even before you and I got married, you were an entrepreneur, you're an author, you wrote 5 books. Did you ever feel like you didn't have Christian entrepreneur community that helped you grow and develop?
Yeah. And I think for me, I really struggled with people understanding my ambition, understanding my drive, understanding why I was constantly creating or working towards goals.
Yeah.
And felt really, I think, undermined in a lot of ways or not taken seriously because I had such great ambitions, and maybe I tried a lot of things, or I started a lot of businesses that maybe failed. And I feel like in a lot of ways, I felt like I had to withdraw or hold back a lot of my passion for success in order to minimize myself to fit into other people's expectations of me. So not only did I feel alone, I didn't even know it was possible, because I felt like, oh, I have to kind of bring myself down to people's levels of, not that I think I'm so great, but really just feel like, you know, if my ambitions aren't just to, I guess I was surrounded by a lot of people who are in the nonprofit world. So if it wasn't nonprofit focused, then maybe it was self-consuming or just too focused on what my dreams were. Not, I think, you know, the nonprofit sector is very much just focused on, you know, raising funds and missions and stuff like that. So I felt really misunderstood before I even was able to kind of meet you and get even deeper into the personal development space that I didn't even know existed.
Wow. Yeah. So you felt like you had these great big dreams God gave you, these aspirations, but you had to dumb it down to almost feeling like you couldn't talk about those dreams around people because, one, you were misunderstood, or you were put down for even having that ambition. Like, oh, well, that's not building the church. So you're not righteous enough because you want to go be successful.
It made me even question my motives and oh my gosh, am I just so focused on just me and what I want to do, even if it had a good intent.
Yeah. And it's so hard because it's you get saved, and if you're in a great church community and you get on fire for Jesus, you're like, all I want to do is lead people to Jesus. I want to build the church. But then there's those of us that our calling and our vocation is not full-time ministry. We're called to marketplace. And so when you feel that call to marketplace, you almost have this guilt of oh, am I not holy or righteous enough because I'm not going full-time into ministry and I want to build a business and I have dreams to be successful in those things. I know I struggled with that a lot, but then I realized through great mentors in my life, the marketplace can be my ministry. And there are some of us that are called to make a lot of money in business and to be the check writers and to reach people the church can't reach through our businesses, through our influence, through our affluence. And I know when I understood that, I was like, oh, I have permission. Finally, I feel good. I can go be successful with the gifts God gave me in business, and that can still grow ministry. But then it's when you hit that point, you're like, awesome, but who else is doing this? I want to get around Christian. And that's why I love that we're entrepreneurs and we're a married couple. And I think we model something in our marriage. Someone was talking to me the other day. They're like, man, I so love you and Esther are doing the podcast together now, because you guys model healthy marriage and family and growing with your spouse and doing business together. It's not always easy, guys.
No, it's
Esther
not.
And I got in an argument.
If only they could see.
Before this, we got an argument about the podcast. Sometimes there's butting heads. And so I think about that. And sometimes growing with your spouse can be harder because there's going to be some friction, but it's also so rewarding. And I'm so grateful I'm married to you, babe, because it's I know that couples that are on mission together grow together, and couples that grow together stay together. And so this is just a little nugget, guys. We're just conversating. Dream with your spouse. Dream with your spouse. I was talking to a married guy the other day who came to me for some advice, and he's like, man, marriage has been really tough. It hasn't been easy. And do you have advice? And I'm over here well, you've been married 3 times as long as me, so I don't know how great my advice will be. But I do know this. Dream with your spouse. And I know Esther and I's number one anchor to success in our marriage, and it's not easy, but it's that we cast vision and we dream together. I know the desires of my wife's heart. She knows the desires of my heart. We have a combined vision together. And because of that, our life aligns towards that vision and we are growing together in our marriage.
Yeah.
And that becomes glue.
Yeah. And even to add on to that, relinquish them in their dreaming for themselves and be their greatest cheerleader, be their greatest champion, even to the point of allowing them to fail. Because part of that is there's a reward in just going after something that you have as a desire in your heart and seeing if you can achieve it, even if it's not something that you both are passionate about. And there's just so much beauty in your spouse coming alongside you to support you, believe in you, even if maybe it's not going to be the thing that you do for the rest of your life.
Yeah, so good. I remember at our men's conference, Emerge, 2 years ago, Pastor Leanne, our lead pastor's wife, preached a message that women are like a beautiful, delicate flower.
We are.
And men, like when you're married to a woman, you're holding that beautiful, delicate flower in your hands.
Like a little daisy.
And so many men are crushing their wife. And it really was like there was 3,000 dudes that, the most manly men of men, right? And we're all weeping because she just preached this message that penetrated our heart of, are you allowing your wife to dream with God?
Yeah.
Or are you crushing her dreams? And that really challenged me because I'm like, well, I think I do an okay job, but I can look back and see times that maybe I pushed against your dreams to submit to mine. And then it was really cool. It's like God created an opportunity shortly after where you were in Hawaii and we're swimming with sea turtles in the ocean. And you're like, God spoke to me and I got a vision for a new business. And first reaction, I'm like, oh, we do not need another business, right? We have 3 we run right now.
Yeah.
But then I was like, oh, it's an opportunity. I'm holding the delicate flower.
Yeah.
She's dreaming with God. Whether it's successful or not doesn't matter.
Yeah,
let her dream into it and get to support you. And it's been cool to watch you get excited about this new business. And so like, what's that experience been like for you as a wife? And then hopefully you feel supported by me in that.
For me, that was just a time where I really felt honored and valued by you when you said, hey, like, if you want to do that, if you feel like God's put that in your heart, I support you 100%. Yeah. And you didn't try to come in and control or tell me what to do or what not to do. Of course, I come to you for advice and wisdom and different things. But I remember building my website and everything. You're like, holy crap, like you did all this. I'm so proud of you. And for me, it's like, it's such a personal thing. I'm sure a lot of entrepreneurs can relate, especially when you are dreaming with God. It's like you're playing with the Lord on the playground. Yeah. Like this little business for me is just like I'm in a sandbox and I'm building a little sandcastle and I'm, chopping it down and just putting all of my seashells and decorating and just having fun. Yeah. That really is what it is. And so I think, for you to be able to actually tell me that you're proud of me too with what I've built on my own and for us to share in that together, as long as it's not robbing you of your joy and your peace and becoming such a distraction in your life, like it's very much on the back burner for me. It's not my main thing. Our focus is Christian Entrepreneur Club, but it's fun for me to be able to do that on the side.
Yeah, and for those of you that don't know, Esther started $1 Million Tan SD and spray tanning business for women here in San Diego. So if you're listening and you're a woman that wants to get
a free advertisement,
an incredible organic spray tan with Esther, where she really ministers to the women that come in and get tans with you. That's been really cool. Definitely go to, I don't know what the website's called.
$1milliontansd.com.
$1milliontansd.com. I'm so proud of you, babe. But yeah, I think kind of bringing this full circle, it was like, hey, we want to talk about the conference, but we want to tell you a story of how we are both entrepreneurs who got married, who felt alone, and like we didn't have a community of Christian entrepreneurs that shared our values. So for those of you that don't know, we started the Christian Entrepreneur Club 2.5 years ago. We shut down our main business before that because we felt like God was telling us to do that. The vision for the conference came about.
Well, we shut our business down before we even knew what God was calling us to. Yeah, well, that's the caveat there.
Yeah, so that's a good point. It was about 3 months from shutting our business down to really hearing from the Lord clear on this direction. Yeah. But I knew the feeling I had of loneliness as an entrepreneur had been there for years.
Right.
And so we set out and we started I would say it's grown to be a movement because people resonate with the message of, I want to get around other Christian business owners that share my values, that are like-minded, that I can learn and grow in the marketplace with. That's what we do. The Christian Entrepreneur Club is community for Christian business owners and teaching and how do we build business with biblical principles. My hope is through this podcast, we're equipping you guys and teaching you how to apply what God's word says to life and business.
Yeah.
And then the third is practically actually coming alongside Christian business owners and supporting them, right? Having business trainings every single week, having kingdom boardrooms where we have small, intimate rooms of Christian entrepreneurs with people all around the world, guys, who meet 2 times a month and grow their businesses together. So we're in the process of building this. We're probably a year and a half into doing this. And I'll never forget when I heard the word from God on the conference. I was at a Merge conference. I was in worship, and there's 3,000 guys worshiping. And then the Lord showed me a vision of a conference room in San Diego and hundreds of Christian business owners just worshiping the Lord.
So just so everyone knows listening, he's talking past tense. This was last year.
Yes. So before last year, I'm at another conference. God gives me a vision of us putting on a conference. And what I saw specifically, I saw this room, there was hundreds of Christian business owners, people in suits, people all colors, all sizes, all different businesses, like the plumbers in the room and the CEO executive of the companies in the room, the real estate agent, like the online coach, like there was no niche. It was almost like God's leaders that he had gifted all around the world and all these different vocations were in a room. And then I saw this vivid vision of all of us were down on our knees and we were worshiping the Lord, and the Spirit of God came down in the room and it filled up the heart of every business leader with the Spirit of God. And it was almost like, and we talked about revival. And Esther, you saw a vision. I'd love to now share on this, the vision you saw of the heart, which tied into this.
And I mean, at that time, I was not getting any visions for a conference or anything like that. That's another thing, is just trusting God with your spouse. And when he speaks to just one of you, allowing them to lead in that and really leaning into their faith and borrowing their faith to move forward. But at that time, we had just moved into this home. Right before that, the Lord said, I want you to study revival. I want you to study about the human heart and revival, because I'm giving you a home of revival. And that was this home. And so I was just researching revivals all throughout history, researching how does the human heart work, because God said that he just gave me this visual of him reviving the body of Christ and reviving the church in the ways in which they've grown weary. And as I studied the human heart, I learned about how blood is oxygenated through the lungs and through oxygen coming into the bloodstream and then being redispersed throughout the body to produce energy. And through this vision, I just saw Christian business owners who've become weary in doing good, weary in the journey, losing sight of their mission, of their eternal perspective because of the finances, maybe even getting lost in the idolatry of success, getting lost in all of the...
Which your message was on idolatry last year.
That's true.
So good.
Yeah, my message was on the history of revival and idolatry. And so God was just speaking to me about reviving our hearts and allowing him to reoxygenate us and be redispersed into our mission.
So good.
We're going to get back to this episode really quick, but before we do, we want to share something that's really close to Cody and I's heart. Yeah. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt torn between building something big, building your business, and staying faithful to God? I know we have, and it's so common. You want to grow your business, you want to make money, but you don't want to feel like you are driven by the wrong motives or wrong ambitions. And it's so common for people to feel that way. And that's exactly why we built the Christian Entrepreneur Club.
Yeah, so you don't have to teeter between ambition and obedience. You can actually build something that's successful and led by God in the process. If that's the tension you've been feeling, come meet our team. We'd love to learn more about you and get you connected to a thriving community of Christian business owners just like you. Go to christianentrepreneurclub.com or click the link in the show notes down below and join us on our next intro call this next week. We can't wait to meet you. So guys, so get this vision, right? It starts with me of this room of Christian entrepreneurs. I come back and I tell Esther and Justin, Javier and Isaiah and our team and Ponte and Leven, that's the CEC team. And, you know, I would say there was a little pushback from you guys of like, I don't know if we're ready to put on like
Oh,
a
100%.
big conference.
Well, we weren't ready.
No. And you know, the reality is like financially on paper and like conferences are expensive and our team's like, why don't we do something small again?
Yeah.
You know, like we did the year before. And I'm like, I feel like God wants us to do like a full on multi-day like conference.
Yeah.
And what I love about great organizations is there has to be a leader that has vision. There has to be people who are willing to support and believe in that vision. And the leader needs to be willing to invite in the team to dream into that vision and refine it. And so we step into that and we're like, and this is the crazy thing about this, guys, is this is like 7-8 weeks before we put the conference on. And so our team like all gets on the same page. We're going to do this conference. Esther's studying revival. She brings that into it, which really helped create the theme, I would say, of last year was really from you, like your creation behind the scenes. I knew we were called to do a conference. I knew it was in San Diego. I saw a vision of the room, of the people. And then you brought that heart, which really became a part of the brand for last year. And then I remember being on my knees and being like, Lord, I'm stepping out. Now we're looking at venues. We're starting to get contracts together, right? Like all the things to do this. And I'm going, oh my God, this is going to cost like $100,000. Lord, I don't have $100,000 to pay for an event right now. And I just felt like the Lord was like, don't worry about that. Just be obedient. And I think this is such a testament in business because if you actually spend time with God and hear from God, you get revelation from God. And I talk about this a lot, how obedience precedes blessing. Guys, sometimes you don't need to have it all figured out. You need a word from God and you need to step out with faith and say, we're going to do this and go all in. And for me, I knew like, if we fail doing this conference, I'm okay with that because I really felt like the Lord called me to do this. And if he did, there's no way we're going to fail. And so, okay, so we step out, we put this conference on in 7 weeks from the moment we opened up ticket sales. It was 7 weeks before the conference. Probably the hardest thing we ever did, wouldn't you say, honey?
1,000%.
Oh my God. It about killed us.
It was. But you know what? The testimonies, the presence of God, everything that happened those 3 days, I wouldn't trade it for the world. It was so worth the price that we had to pay.
Yeah.
I would love for us to share some just quick testimonies from conference because we are short on time here.
Yeah.
And then share how people can sign up and get tickets for conference this year.
Yeah. Sorry, we do got some guests coming in a podcast, but I will say, guys, we knew we wanted to do a conference unlike any other business conference had been done before. Primarily, a business conference's agenda is to make money. We went into this and God gave me a clear word. You can have an altar or a stage, but you can't have both. We knew this was called to be an altar, not a stage. So the function of the business was more of a community building event and really bringing the presence of God and Christian entrepreneurs together. And so everything we did was Holy Spirit led. We had worship way more times than we originally planned. Like God bless our worship band because we were bringing up the keys, the worship nonstop. Every speaker shared. And it was cool how like none of our speakers talked beforehand, but there was an underlying theme.
And we had all different speakers from all over. We had Sarah Robbins. She's in network marketing. We had Emily
over $1 billion
Ford.
or $2 billion in sales to her organization.
Yes,
Emily Ford.
We had, what's your buddy? Forbes.
Brandon Forbes, one of the top Christian online coaches and marketers.
Yes.
We had Landon, Landon did a workshop, but we had Lance, who was a pro baseball player.
Landon Rhodes.
Morgan Irvin, who's like top brand strategist, our pastor, who's worked with like Starbucks, Hewlett Packard, like all these big brands.
Such incredible speakers.
Colin Higginbottom.
A lot of them didn't know each other.
$50 million company, pastor.
John Soriano.
Yeah, who's built one of the largest solar sales organizations. So we had like these amazing leaders, and every one of them, guys, when we picked, we didn't go for like the biggest name. Although these guys have done great things, we went for who's truly submitted to the Lord and building their business in alignment with the word of God.
Yeah. And what came out of that, in the last 3 minutes that we have to share some of these testimonies, we heard people come up to us and say, our marriage was restored. and God gave us a new business idea that we're so excited about.
Yeah.
We had people say they went home later on, a couple who's been trying to conceive for several years, and they found out they're pregnant. I mean, such incredible testimonies, powerful, powerful moments in the presence of God.
Well, and it's really cool because we submitted this conference to the Lord and our agenda was pure to truly get people to encounter the Lord. I believe it's why we saw testimonies you wouldn't normally see at a business conference. I remember some people we've known and mentored for a long time were really struggling in their marriage. They came up to me after the conference and they said, we did a last minute switch on a panel we did where we ended up talking about marriage. That wasn't planned. We came up with that 45 minutes beforehand. We were going to talk about Charlie Kirk and, different things in the marketplace and like being bold, and felt the Lord say, go talk about marriage. And so we brought up 3 Christian entrepreneur couples to talk about marriage. That panel restored and created reconciliation in a marriage, and that couple walked outside of the venue and created restoration in their marriage. That to me was like, oh, I would do this conference just for that. Like, we probably just saved a marriage because they were going to get divorced. Like, they went into that conference, like, we already got tickets, but like, we're separated, we're getting divorced.
Oh, yeah.
And then they're like, we're gonna build our marriage and be on mission together and dream with God. We had people get physical healing in there, which is crazy. And then we just saw divine encounters for business. Actually, I got a message from a lady the other day in our club, Debbie. She sent us a really long message, and she talked about how she was at a place in her life last year where she was just ready to give up and like just so many things. And she was just like, felt alone. She felt isolated. She felt like she wasn't good at business, like all these things. And she came to the conference and how it completely restored her. She's messaged me. She's like, when are you dropping tickets? I'm getting a VIP ticket. I'm coming back this year. And I want to buy a ticket for 2 other people and bless them. And I just thought that was so cool. And so, yeah, I mean, what happens when you gather hundreds of Christian entrepreneurs into one room to come together? And I would say the theme for this year, guys, because we are short on time, is connection, number 1. We want to bring you into an environment where you get to connect and build relationships with hundreds of Christian business owners, just like you. Were expecting over 500 people this year. Yeah. Encounter. The beginning of our conference is designed to minister to Christian business owners. So this year we're structuring the very beginning, because we have a networking night, the start of the conference, and the next day is an encounter where we're going to pour in and minister to you guys following equipping. And the rest of the remainder of the event's designed to be your top level business conference where you walk away with so much wisdom in business. You can go apply, you feel filled up, you're excited, you've got all these connections, and we can send you out into the marketplace where you have a full cup and you can go do what God has called you to do.
When you experience it, it is nothing like you've experienced before. And, why is it important to be in the room rather than, I'll just listen to the podcast, I'll just listen to the card after?
Because you can't get from a podcast what you get from proximity.
Absolutely.
There is power in proximity. And I love, this is our podcast, you guys listen to this podcast, this serves a purpose for you to have these seeds sown into you throughout the year. But if you don't make the sacrifice to get into the room, to be around people, some of the best things in life are caught, not taught. I can teach you this podcast, but you can't catch things from being in proximity to me or others unless you're around them. And so I would say this is a room that I believe every Christian entrepreneur needs to make a priority to be in this year.
Yeah, and sometimes God calls you to meet him at the mountaintop. He called Moses to meet him on Mount Sinai and imparted to him a word, a message. He calls us into a secret place with him where we are not distracted by our environment. We're not limited by the belief systems or the chaos around us or the worries of life, and he speaks to us there. And there is something that you cannot replace that. You cannot replicate that in any other form of podcast or whatever. It's just a moment where God is just taking you away, and Jesus did that. He got away so that he could hear from God.
And you have an encounter at the mountaintop. Then you walk down from the mountain and you have transformation at the table.
Exactly.
And so we look at the conference as our mountaintop experience that we invite all of you guys. We all come together. It's our conference.
Yeah.
You know, it's not Esther and I's conference. It's our conference as the body of Christ called to marketplace, so we can go to the altar, experience a touch of heaven on our life, our business, dream with God, make connections, and then come back to the table, which is the Christian Entrepreneur Club, where we do life together 365. And that's where we see continuous growth and accountability to go be successful in what God has called us to do.
Yeah.
And so, guys, we want to officially invite you, if you've been a listener of the podcast, to join us for this year's conference. The conference is going to be October 14th, 15th, and 16th in San Diego, California, our backyard, one of the most beautiful locations in the United States. You've never been here. But what's really cool is God actually opened a door for us to do it at the largest hotel on the West Coast that just got built, the Gaylord Pacific Resort and Convention Center. It is an incredible property. And we also have made tickets more affordable this year than we've ever made them before. And so you guys can go to christianentrepreneurclub.com/conference, christianentrepreneurclub.com/conference. Go get your ticket right now. We're going to sell out. We're expecting over 500 Christian business owners this year. And come join us and meet us in bringing revival to the marketplace.
Yes, bring the family. There's a huge pool, slides, lazy river, all of it. And for the first time, we are opening up the conference to not just entrepreneurs, but also leaders and pastors.
Yes.
Anyone who feels called to impact and disrupt the marketplace for Jesus and see revival happen. It's
Come
happening.
on. And as always, guys, go make it a great day. We'll see you on the next episode.